What's going on, family? We had a little bit of technical difficulties, so we're going to get straight into it today. I just have a few announcements. We're going to get in and we're going to truncate the show a little bit because I don't even really want to be talking about what I'm talking about today anyway. I'm tired of talking about this person, but it deserves a reply. And since we had the technical problems, we're going to get into it and get out of it and let you have your say of what you got to say and all of that good stuff. But how's everybody doing? Do you have your libations? Shout out to all the ADOS, Atlanta ADOS, for the holiday party. It was great. Had a great time. Had a great time talking to everybody inside. Had a great time talking to everybody at the car. Had a great time all the way around, fam. Appreciate you. Also, fam, do not forget, please do not forget that we are reading They Were Her Property. Let me make that a little bit smaller so you can see all the other little stuff, the author's name and that kind of stuff. That is January the 30th. That is the last Thursday in January. So you have plenty of time to actually get that book and start reading that book and all of that good stuff. You got plenty of time to do everything you need to do. Everything you need to do. You got plenty of time to read the book, share the book, read it now and hand it off to somebody else so you all don't have to pay for the book. All that good stuff. Please hit that like button if you are already in there. Please hit the share button. Well, you don't hit the share button, but share this video if you can. I know some of you say, I can't share it on Facebook, and I don't know what's wrong. But, you know, please, please, please share. If you want to donate, as usual, you go to donatebrown.com, patreon.com/ycarnell. There will be a link if you want to get the newsletter. If you are getting the newsletter and you are not seeing it in your inbox, make sure you do a search for editor@breakingbrown.com. And if that doesn't work, send me an email. I would appreciate it. Also, what else we have? Are there any more announcements before we get into it? Because we have to get into it tonight fairly quickly. We have to do the business. So, fairly quickly. So, is there anything else? Just make sure you hit that like button for me, fam. Just make sure you hit the like button. I would appreciate it. And we're going to get into Joy Reid and MSNBC and everything that's going on over there. For those of you who were around over the weekend, you saw something that looked like this. I know you saw it because I saw it. It was in my inbox. This is the kind of stuff you don't want to finally turn on your phone to. You take a little me time away. I'm not going to turn on my phone to me. Then you turn on, you see this madness happening all over again. And you already know who the players are. These are the players. Joy Reid and Shireen, I forgot the child's name. Digital Sister on Twitter. They're at it again. And they have decided once again that they're going to run with this narrative. This time that we're bots. Not that we're just bots, but see, let me just show you how the transition is working. See, the initial story was, and it's kind of the same story, but not quite. The initial smear of ADOS was they're bots. All right, all of these are bots. Well, you got a lot of that in there with her talking about the fake accounts, but you got something else in there too. You also have her saying, well, now this is a, hold on, put this back up so you see it. This is a disinformation campaign. Let me bring this a little bit down a little bit so you can see it. Report. Now there was a report in Congress, I think it was in the Senate, but it didn't even really mention some black people much. It didn't mention what they talking about, all this stuff. It didn't mention this stuff. But this is the impression that they're giving you that all this stuff was in the Senate report. Right? The impression that you're giving is that there was a report on Capitol Hill and it says that all of this stuff that we seeing right now, all of this stuff we looking at, when people say American descendants of slavery, it's not slaves, Dodo Bird, slavery, the institution. Blexit, that's Candace Owens' outfit. FBA, the clone of ADOS. Black Voices for Trump. Walk Away, that's Isaiah, what's his name? Isaiah Washington, right? So that's his thing. So you have all of these, you have, when you look at this, I want you to understand what you're seeing when you look at this. This has been whether it's tangibles or ADOS, this has been the talking point, whether it's Blexit and Candace Owens. What you see in terms of black online activism from the left wing to the middle to all the way to the right, all of what you have seen, this is what you have seen. This is all of the black, like the biggest part of black online activism has been this. There's been ADOS, Blexit, Walk Away, FBA, Black Voices for Trump, all of that stuff, and then reparations, criminal justice. I don't know nothing about climate change. I haven't seen that much. I don't know what's talking about. Immigration, right? Report, disinformation, targets, and action. So we are supposed to be using all of the stuff on the right, I suppose, for disinformation, according to these two people, according to Digital Sister and Joy Reid, except they have no evidence for anything they just said. Now, I want you to pay close attention. There was a little kind of, I don't want to qualify it as a sleight of hand, but it was. So if you watched the show, you saw this pop up. This is the report. This is Digital Sister's report. She is, I don't know, this little group that nobody's heard of, this little company or whatever. So the sisters do what? I don't know, something, squaw. I don't know, call them squaw. They deserve to be called squaw. So she has this report, and this is what this is taken from the show. This is taken from AM Joy Reid. So you see this and you say, well, I don't have the report, but all of this stuff must have been in the report. This is Digital Sister's report. And she's saying there's a new thing afoot called digital voter suppression. That's what she's saying. There's some new stuff afoot. And apparently it's this report. Now, you know, people don't read reports, but then at the backdrop, you got this on the report. You have an overlay, family. You have an overlay atop the report. Now, the overlay says what, family? The overlay says this is why fake accounts pretending to be black women matter. Not only in the disinformation campaigns, but in every election, there has been a consistent number of fake accounts posing as black women since 2013. That's interesting. And then she goes on to say, now you would think that report, we're going to put a pin in that. We're going to come back to why that's the report is in the background, and you assume that the stuff's in the report, but it's not in the report. And then she says black women for a very specific reason. She says black women because black women vote 94% Democrat, and black men only vote, however, 80 or something, she said, percent Democrat. So it's all about the black women. And nobody says, like, you have this whole shaming of black men for you don't vote Democratic enough. You don't do that enough. What's wrong with you? But wait a minute, there's no shaming of white people. Latinos vote 30% for Republicans. White people voted like 55 for Republicans. You don't shame them, but you look at those black men. See, we have to carry everything. Why won't you get up? You slard. Like, how? Wait a minute. How come we don't talk about all these other groups who have split? And let me tell you what. So we're now a captured electorate. Instead of using our Democratic vote for leverage to get what we want from this party, we're now a captured electorate. And so people are running around asking Doc and them, what you want? What you want us to give you? You don't want no borders? We don't have to have no borders. Because they're doing what they want. We here. We've been here. And we're saying we want an exchange. We have never said, see this thing, digital system, them saying these people, now I'm talking about ADOS. I can't talk about everybody else online. I can only talk about what we have done. And that's why I like to be clear about who we are. I don't want to be any confusion. We have never said don't vote. We said we need an exchange for our vote and vote Democratic down ballot. What that means is that if you don't give us our exchange, yeah, Democrats, you might lose the presidency because you didn't give us anything. And we're not going to be your mule anymore. We're not cleaning up your mess anymore. That's what we've said. That's a whole lot different than what Digital System said right here about us leading some kind of misinformation campaign. And we're going to get to the misinformation or what they believe misinformation is in a minute. But let me get to this. Let me get to this report. This little digital sister report. So one of the things that happens is that nobody ever thinks you're going to actually open something up and read it. Everybody thinks that you're going to put this in the backdrop and everybody just going to walk away and say, oh my God, it must be some damning information. Digital sister must have done her homework. Shireen Mitchell, whatever, and she must have really done her homework and brought something in for us. Well, hold on a second, please. Because if you go and I link to it, so if you want to see it, it's my last Twitter. Yeah, squaw. That's the little thing that she does. That's her company or whatever. We'll get to the fact that it's really not a company. But you don't expect that we're going to open this up and we're going to look inside and see what it says. When you watch the Joy Reid show, Joy Reid said something very specific. She says, thank you, Shireen, for being here to break this information with us today. Well, breaking means this is new information. Well, it wasn't in the report that you were talking about in terms of the congressional report. And the information in this thing right here that's supposed to actually be something about something, that isn't a report from this year. That's like a report from 2018. The first thing you see is a bunch of bad resume babble with a bunch of little word bubble things or whatever you call these things about all the words that were used. Martin Luther King, African American, black, color, Pan-Africanism. I guess it doesn't say. I guess when you see these things, you're supposed to know that there's something afoot. What did she say right there? The link nodes in this cluster with the center focused stop police brutality can be linked to African American, Martin Luther King, whatever, the Pan-Africanism, many other topics and issues that are focused on black identity. That's you know what? This is bad resume babble. That's what you say when you're not saying anything. Like if you pull this up, fam, understand that what you're seeing is what you see in a report. Have you ever done like a book report, or have you ever done a report in college and you need to fill pages? And the report is supposed to be like 20 pages. You need to fill some pages and you don't have it. And you say, I'm going to throw some charts in here. You know, if there's another report, even if she's talking about congressional, it's not even on your site. There's nothing that's on your site but this. And this is the report that you showed on MSNBC. So what I can take from that is the only thing we have is resume babble. And this is something else from the report. See, the first half of the report deals with like fake Facebook ads. That's nothing to do with us. We don't buy ads on Facebook. That's not us. So why did you even use this report as the backdrop for your visit to Joy Reid show, as if this was going to be the real deal? You just don't know. I got a report on it. And you know nobody's going to go read this dumb stuff from 2018. And you know it's from 2018 because they pull up that they have the whole Jill Stein in there again. And then if you pull up this, you see very clearly, oh, okay. She's using like some old voter data. So it had to be like 2016 because she used like 2008 and 12. But she was talking about 2016. So we have voting data on 2016 now. But you have this chart up. And then you had another chart up that was 2016. You got charts all over the place. It don't really make any sense except that you're trying to fill space. You have this whole big site and you have this one report. And it's supposed to be a damning report about ADOS and what we do online. And none of that is in your report. You tried to see when you went on. See, what's happening here is that there's a sleight of hand. So you go on here, you have this report, and I don't even think Joy Reid. I don't know what kind of bumbling, shoddy operation you're running. But you should have read the report before you had her on your show. Like, why don't you have a research staff? Why don't you have, like, understand something? I talked about the Negro whisperers. I really did. And I knew they were going to get rid of everybody who was black or ADOS over there at MSNBC, whether it be Torrey or Melissa Harris Perry or Al Sharpton. He's on the weekend. Once Obama was gone, because you were there to interpret Obama, like as if Obama spoke a different tongue. So I knew that was going to happen. But even in terms of Melissa Harris Perry, there was some research in terms of what she was doing. She had a research staff. I'm not saying I agree with it all the time or half the time. I'm not saying that. But understand that we replaced Melissa Harris Perry for this lady who doesn't vet anybody. You just invite whoever on. Come on, you just go, well, what you doing? You just go dragging people off basketball courts. Come on, we got to talk about something. You got something, you can put a report together. You got to put it together by tomorrow. If you can have a report together by tomorrow, well, I ain't got nothing but something from last year. Well, just slap a name on it. We put a thing up. I need some content. That's what happened, because that report is old. And that report isn't about ADOS. It's not about something that just happened. Understand, we've been doing this for a while. Like for 2016, this happened. Like, we really ramped up after Trump. If Joy Reid has a research staff, I want to know what they're doing. I want to know how come you didn't look at this report and say, like, no, you can't rerun this. We can't rerun the same thing. You're going to have to like do something new based on something that just came out or based on a new study. You can't do it this way. You have to have something that undergirds what you're saying. You have to have a basis. You have to have evidence. You have to have data evidence. There is data evidence. There are digital fingerprints. If you're a digital specialist, you should know that. And what she says online is basically, well, there are bots. Bots exist. Well, I've been attacked by bots. I know they exist. And I know that's Twitter's fault for not taking care of that. But you haven't provided any evidence to say what you need to say. And I don't know, thanks for Bakara for doing some online research. When you talk about vetting, it looks as if this Stop Online Violence Against Women, which is Shireen's digital sister's company, hasn't really been a company. They got all kind of she owes money or something, all kinds of stuff. Stop Online Violence Against Women is not an organization nor a business. It's a non-entity. Both Digital Sister and this little company, Squaw, are fraudulent. Shireen Mitchell, Digital Sisters Inc. owes thousands of dollars to the DC Consumer Regulator Affairs, according to her last business filing. Her last business filing was 2003. Like, understand that if you do vetting, this isn't the person that you bring on as an expert. If you do vetting, you bring somebody who has recent information about what they're talking about, who has a recent digital report about what they're talking about, a digital report that says, listen, we have seen coordination among bots weaponized in such a way to take down Kamala or whoever else. That's what you have to. You have to bring on an expert who has that digital evidence. None of that happened here. You don't have the evidence. You don't have a company. I don't know who vets this woman and allows this woman to keep coming on. Additionally, Shireen owes for violations 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19, every odd number apparently, each $130 plus reinstatement fee, and has no business license. How is she talking? And if you have a crack research team, and if you have people who vet people who come on your show, Joy Reid, I don't really understand how this is happening. This person shouldn't get to speak. Understand, let me slow down and just say what happened. She was able to, with her shoddy business and shoddy business practices, she was able to come on with an old report and repackage it as a new report and just give you like these pretty pictures. Oh my God, here is the report, and it has all this stuff in it about all the fake accounts that have been used. But no, you link those fake accounts to here. So you pretended something was in the report that wasn't in the report in order to smear not only ADOS. Let me tell you what you did. You smeared everybody. Understand what you just did. She smeared everybody who is not in line with the Democratic Party, right? She even said, if you hear somebody talking about, tangibles, if you hear somebody talking about we get something in exchange for our vote, you should be suspicious of them. Wait a minute. So any black person online, whether they're on the left or they're a right winger, whether it's ADOS or whether it's all the way to the right in terms of Blexit or walk away, anybody who says we should have an exchange for our vote is automatically suspicious. So you're saying we're engaged in digital voter oppression. I say, and I have evidence from your show to say this, that you are involved in the suppression of black thought. You are involved in the suppression of black activism. You are actively oppressing our ability to get something in exchange for our vote. That is racist. It is racist to say, because let me just say something. One of the things that was used by Reid in order to say, and digital sister Shireen Mitchell, in order to say that we were actually involved in disinformation, she said, well, all this stuff about Kamala, where everybody says Kamala Harris is a cop. Kamala instead of Kamala. Well, here's the issue. Here's the issue that you have. First of all, the issue that you have is very interesting. Because there was one person online who had as their name. It might have been more. I'm just talking about what I saw. Who was a white leftist, popular, and I think their thing now is Joe Biden is a racist. They changed it after Kamala dropped out, I think. But I know that this person has a big following, and they're a white leftist, and they had as their name Kamala is a cop. It's a popular Twitter handle, right? You don't go like Joy Reid doesn't go after like white people on the left like that. Like as much as you go after us, especially unsubstantiated. You might disagree respectfully, but the way you go after us is very different. We made a lot of cases about Kamala. That was just one of them. That was one of many. We made about you're not gonna do nothing for us. We talked about you being a cop in terms of you pulling people off you. The black woman who you went to her house. We talked about what you did, right? We talked about all of that. We had a conversation about all of that. But there's something very interesting. She said that, and she used that when I talk about digital sister Shireen Mitchell. She said, well, the Kamala is a cop. Could have played a big role in the kind of like the misinformation. But wait a minute, hold on. How is Kamala is a cop, Kamala Harris, how is that misinformation? Well, Kamala's not a cop. So it was misinformation. It's kind of stupid. Because Kamala is the top cop. You have to understand how this works. Police arrest somebody, right? That's not the end of the judicial process. Once you arrest them, you have to charge them with a crime. Well, or you got to release them. One or two things happen. You arrest the person who works with the police and who is an extension of the police in the sense of has to determine, do I have enough evidence to prosecute this person? Do I let him go? And if I prosecute this person, I'm doing law enforcement. This is the end of the law enforcement process is what the prosecutor does. That's the end of it. That's why Kamala is the top cop. in terms of California. Top cops in all states. That's what she is. She called herself a top cop. The top cop. This is nothing new. It is not, to say Kamala is a cop is not disinformation. You may not like it. You may not like the way it sounds. You may not like the way it hits your ear. But it is not misinformation. As a matter of fact, everybody said it. So, because it's true. So how can you then come in and say, well, it was disinformation. They were talking about Kamala's a cop, and that may have hurt her chances. And that may have really hurt her. This Kamala's a cop stuff. Well, she was a cop until she didn't want to be a cop no more. But she was. I don't even understand. Like, do you understand what this says about what this woman does not understand about politics and the political process, to not understand who Kamala was and what her role was and what prosecutors do and what they don't do? It's a problem not to, and I was trying to find one more article, but it's a problem not to understand that part of it. How do you not understand that part of it? So let me see if I can. But yeah, kind of a cop. See, there was no. See, here's the thing. If you want to say that ADOS were somehow involved, or even whoever, Blexit, I don't care. Because you can say, well, you can say they were involved in misinformation, but the same misinformation that comes from them sometimes. I mean, it ain't no different than the white right wing's misinformation. What's the difference? Except they black. See, you have to kind of sit back and say, well, why weren't you able? You didn't even pull like we know who tweets the most about ADOS. You didn't even pull any tweets from me or any of the top tweeters or anybody else to show like, aha, here is the top tweets and these the ones who use ADOS the most, and it was misinformation. You didn't even go that far. You just slapped an old report. You slapped up an old report and said, like, people who are asking for an exchange, black people, not just people, you left white people alone. Black people who are asking the party, who are demanding in exchange for our vote, policies, reparations agenda, quantifiable, are somehow automatically engaged in digital voter suppression. What you're really telling white people who watch Joy Reid's show, probably more than black people do, you're telling them, don't listen to these people. When you see somebody online, when you see a black person online start talking about reparations, don't talk to them. They're probably misinformation. When you see somebody talking about criminal justice, don't talk to them. If you see a black person talking about climate change, don't talk to them. You see a black person talking about immigration, don't talk to them. Don't take them seriously. They're engaged in a misinformation campaign. That looks to me like racism. I don't know what else you call it. You didn't provide any evidence for what you said. And then this is a person who, when you try to demand evidence from them, the way that they behave is like a petulant kindergartner. I've never really seen anything like it. And we're going to get into that, like the inability to actually, the inability for her to address this seriously. But let me just say this first. Kamala Harris, California's top cop, right? California's Attorney General discusses the state of the state with blueprint editor Jim Newton. That don't matter. But look at this part right here. He said, as she likes to put it, California's top cop. She said, as she likes to put it, that's her saying that. that made her, as she likes to put it, California's top cop. How she call herself a cop? And then you come and say, well, them calling her Coppola may have been part of the disinformation campaign that took her out. She calls herself a cop. She calls herself California's top cop when it works for her. Then we call her a cop. Somebody online, we call her Coppola. We call her a cop, and that's disinformation. How slow are you? That's like me calling myself ADOS. You call me ADOS. Well, why'd you do that for? You ruined me. I was trying to do something else. I was trying to climb out of my skin or something. Like, what are you talking about? She called herself a cop. She called herself California's top cop. She was proud of that. So when she's running, people online, not just ADOS, not just other people who were there, called her Coppola. Called her California's top cop. Asked, can a top cop do it this time around? That's not misinformation. That's just the truth. What are y'all doing? Why y'all struggling so hard, Joy Reid? You struggling this hard? Ratings this bad? People on your back this bad about you got to get these Negroes together. They making hay. They making way. They trying to get an agenda that we don't want to give. We got to do something. This is not going to work. It's unsubstantiated. It's not true. You can't bring in some 2018 report from Squawk. That's what I call it. And try to make it into something. You can't do it. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. It's just not going to work. So let me just say something else. I don't even know what kind of, this is an aside, and I'm not really going, I'm not going to get into it too much, but I don't even know, how can you be a digital security expert? See, like when you go to ADOS101.com, you see the site is secure. When you go to the breakingbrown.com, you see the site is secure. When you go to Squawk, it's not a secure site, and you can see the guts of the site. It would be really easy to infiltrate or something like that. It's not a secure site. I don't know how we can or should consider you a digital expert. This is not just, you can't even secure your own site. See, now you understand how all this other stuff happened with hacking and stuff. Like, because they hire people like Shireen, and she don't know what she's doing. She can't even secure her own site. You can't secure your own stuff. I don't know how or why I should take you seriously. I don't know. There's some goofy stuff. There's some goofy stuff right here. You're going to get enough of going on there thinking you're going to get butter biscuits. You're not going to get anything. And let me just say this. She answers. I've never seen anybody like this, though. If you're a digital security expert and people challenge you online, you are supposed to provide evidence for that. You're not supposed to really, and this wasn't me, this was somebody else. I learned a long time ago. You can't, the child just will go on all day and pull up every meme, and she'll use that, like the kid who never was cool, and like, now's my time to be cool or whatever. It's just weird. But you're supposed to really be a serious person and answer the allegations or whatever and say, this is how I figured that out. But she just memes us to death. So I just want to just go through just a little bit of just how unserious. Like this, her site ain't secure, she ain't secure. And then you go there and you're expecting like a serious person. Talk to me about this. And she said, let's see. I've been tracking fake accounts since about 2013, but miraculously I landed on disinformation out of the blue. Like I just arrived here. The only place we are now is I've defined it. So let's stop digital voter suppression with everything we got. That's incoherent. You didn't define anything. You just made an allegation and you had absolutely no proof with it. You threw a rock and you ran off. You run on Joy Reid show and I defined it. This is what it is. Why don't you go secure your site? First of all, just secure your site. Do the thing for your site. Do that first. But the second thing is, you're not a serious person. And that's why I go back to vetting. The only reason I say Melissa Harris Perry had I remember her complaining when she got ousted about all of her research people and all of that stuff and everything that happened. And I remember that. I don't know what Joy Reid has going on that she is so intent to try to just take out. I don't know what kind of gatekeeper conversation you had. I'm going to have Shireen back on. I just talked to so-and-so and he said so-and-so. I'm going to have Shireen back on. I'm going to take care of these people because they're not going to have Trump. We're not going to have Trump. I'm not going to do Trump. No. You don't run nothing, Joy. You don't tell us what we're going to have. You've never had a conversation with us. You've never tried to even engage. The only thing you've ever done is accuse. And now you're spinning. And Shireen, a digital sister, would be spinning too if she had enough sense. It's just meme after meme after meme after meme. No evidence. Well, some of us are real. How can there be fake accounts? Please stay out of my mentions. You went on TV and lied again. You went on TV with no evidence again, and now the problem is that we're in your mentions. Not that you went on TV and said something that wasn't true. The problem is your mentions. This is the most attention you done got since the last time we gave you attention. If your argument is that this is about racism, literally what? And if you want to use my background to prove that I've doing this thing since 1999, okay? Thanks. How old are you? And again, let me just put this up there just so we're clear. You know, I want to be clear. When No Face came and said that like the down ballot ain't gonna work in 9 states and y'all shouldn't do and blah 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 blah. When No Face said that, I said, listen, No Face. Show up regardless if you can find a local poll or referendum to vote for or against. Download your ballot and check. Research, engage. And never follow no-face YouTubers who always tell you what you can't do versus how you can transform your life and the lives of your tribe. That's what I said. I never said don't vote. I said we need an exchange for the vote that we've been giving the Democratic Party for however long. We're just a captured electorate. We're the mules of the Democratic Party. We just carry everything while the Democrats give everything else away. And if you have to lose the presidency, if you don't get this together, you're going to lose the White House to Trump again because we're not going to be your mules no more. That's what I said. Let's be clear. That's different. That's very different than going around saying no vote. I never said that because you don't even know who's going to be on your ballot or what's going to be on your ballot unless you download the ballot and check it out and decide then. To decide now is to disengage, and I don't want ADOS to be disengaged. That's not my plan. I'm not planning to disengage. I want us to stay engaged. Even if you don't have anything on your ballot to vote for but the local dog catcher, I want you to show up and put Eloise in the paddy wagon. What do they catch dogs in now? Anyway, I want you to show up because most of the time there's something to vote for or against. Most of the time. And it might not be nothing national. It might be something very local. It might be a referendum for increase in taxes 2% to pay for a park. It's not using anything exciting, but it gives you it's practice. Like if there's one little thing on there, that's practice. Right? And you go and look that up. Well, they going to use that. And they're taking it from, where they taking the monies? Okay, they're taking this money from this pot and putting this money in this pot. Money be moving around all the time. You gotta watch where the money is moving. Money is always moving. Now, the key is the money moving away from something that's important to you or in the direction of something important to you? And where is it coming from? What is the taxes being raised on? Is it being raised on something that disproportionately ADOS people buy or take part in? Are the taxes being raised by everybody or equally distributed or being raised on our backs? Right? And is the thing that is being raised for, is that going to benefit us? What is it being raised for? Child care? Or is it being raised to protect the blue spotted fish or whatever? I'm not telling you what to do in your area, but I'm saying follow the money and how the money's moving. And local politics is sometimes a great way to do that in terms of how you vote. And we've all been in the space of I ain't gonna vote or whatever. I understand that. I've been there. We've been there, done that. But you realize that's just petulant. That was a long time ago for a lot of us, and some of us it was recent. Some of y'all it might have been recent. But I understand the impulse. What I'm saying is that we have to engage. Being engaged is better than not engaging. Take a serious look. Like, even if you don't do anything else for me, promise me you will pick up your ballot and go through it. Just go through it. If you got a kid, go through your ballot with the kid. Here's what's on here. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. But even if you don't, make sure you go through the whole thing. Don't disengage before you even see the ballot. Before you even take a look at it, you already just undecided right now. Your ballot don't come out to whenever. Let's say you didn't have anything in November, no off year. You just gonna decide, and you decide right now you're not gonna do nothing. Now it might be a local politician who's good and who's decent and who's trying to take out a politician that you hate, and you've already decided because you hate national Democrats you're not gonna do anything locally, nothing. That's all I'm saying. Just be careful. Just be careful. Because this just shows us what they're doing and what they're out to do. This just shows us what they're doing and what they're out to do and what they're trying to do now. Right? So you have to be very careful. You have to be very careful. Let me pull up something real quick. Pull up something real quick. And then after this, I'm going to go to break. So everybody else can get in. Hold on 1 second for me. Hold on 1 second. Look at all that reparations. Look at all that. Look at all that. Can you imagine being a black person on TV? Like, just secure your site. You got everything out here. I don't even know what kind of digital security. I don't even know what's going on. I don't know. This is the person who's teaching us about digital security. And everything that happened. No evidence. No nothing. All your files just out here. I don't even know. Fam, no, I want everybody to get in. So, and I know we got started late, so give me a moment. I am going to set up the phones and we are going to go to the calls, all right? All right, fam, we are back again in the middle. Please hit this like button. Please hit that like button if you can. I don't know what's going on with the computer. It's doing something funky. Please hit that like button. Do not forget, because I know at the end of the show people forget and they go off. But hit the like button for me. And we're going to go to the calls, fam. We're going to go to the calls and have the conversation as usual. I'm going to my first caller. I'm going to 703. 703, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
My name is Nick, and I'm from VA. And I'm calling specifically to talk about the Joy Reid and Digital Sister saying this. I work in cybersecurity.
Okay.
So the whole idea that they keep coming up and making up these lies saying that it is targeting Kamala Harris and its Russian bots, it doesn't even match with any of the cyber data that's being put out there as far as the Russian targeted groups that were targeting, that have been targeting U.S. political entities going back to the 2016 election, right? None of that matches. It's not in the intel report. And there has been articles coming out from CNN and Washington Times and other papers starting in July saying they've seen no evidence of the bot attacks. And so it's just baffling to me that MSNBC lets this keep going when there has been other news sources that it came out and said the bot attacks are fake. It doesn't make sense. And the recent attacks from those Russian groups that were involved in the 2016 election shows they've been targeting Republican institutions, and it hasn't been a large effort towards anything going towards the black community. So you have Digital Sister speaking. She doesn't work with any reputable firm that collects intelligence on these attack groups that are out there. And it's just people who are in line with her targeting and pushing it forward. And I think it's horrible. And the fact that none of that's being called out is ridiculous.
Well, yeah, and I think.
And then the last part.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I think.
The last part I would. I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
The last part I would add is that MSNBC has a horrible history of fake reporting. Let's all remember how Brian Williams fell from being the anchor to now doing that 11 o'clock show on MSNBC because he was reporting fake news. And out of all of the major news stations, MSNBC has the highest occurrence of reporting false news stories. And they're actually supposed to have someone on staff by law that is supposed to be checking and vetting it. And so I really think there needs to be some push to some of these, because journalism is a profession, to the professional organizations to investigate MSNBC and specifically Joy Reid for for pushing this narrative for much. She's the only major commentator that is pushing this.
Yeah. Yeah, she's on it. And she's on nothing. Like, there was no evidence, and there was no evidence in that little report, which really wasn't a report. The first 4 pages were charts, and this is what a meme looks like. This is a meme. Meme were used to get black people not to vote. This is a meme. Do y'all know what? Like, this wasn't a serious report. This was a joke. And so if you all go through it, like I said, it's on my Twitter timeline. It was a joke. It wasn't a serious report. It was a joke for serious people who are in cybersecurity. That's what it was.
It really is, because when you're talking about these groups, they're called APTs. And I'll get real specific. The APTs that targeted were 27 and 29, and there's no linkage back to any of this. So when she gets up there and talks and says she's an expert, she doesn't mention any sources or how she's gone back and tracked and linked it and showed that it's within an existing group, and it's terrible. It's terrible, and it needs to be called out and put to them that way.
Now, what you said, she doesn't say anything about an APP. What's an APP?
An APT is called an advanced persistent threat. So you have groups like Kaspersky or CrowdStrike, who they literally track large-scale cyber attacks, coordinated, sophisticated attacks that happen across the world, and they publish reports and things. And they've named these groups when they see certain patterns and where they've been. And the specific ones who were called out during the 2016 election were 27 and 29, both like they call them Fuzzy Bear and Cozy Bear, right? Come up with the names. But so none of those, they've done recent attacks in 2019, but they haven't been targeted at a specific effort at even minority presidential candidates, let alone specifically Kamala Harris. That's why it's funny when you can see articles in Newsweek, CNN, Washington Times all saying, where are they at? We've gone and talked to different digital experts, even intelligence communities. They've never released anything on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you saw Donnie Sullivan of CNN say, Twitter tells me the accounts attacking Kamala Harris race were not bots. We saw no coordinated use of automation during recent debates. So he said during the time, Twitter said that these aren't bots. Like, there was no automation of bots during this time. No, these were real people, real concerns, and yet they persist.
They do. And the last part I want to say is I want to make sure people understand what a bot is. A bot sends a response in like 2 seconds. They're very quick, very automated messages. So if you're responding back in 4 or 5 minutes and there are different things that you typed up, you can't be a bot. That's the whole purpose of it. It's an automatic thing designed to overwhelm. If that many people are disagreeing with you, I'm sorry. Either stop or step your game up.
Ooh, thank you, fam. I appreciate that. I appreciate that call. I appreciate the call from somebody with some information and expertise, because Lord knows Digital Sister wasn't giving me nothing. I just been in this game since '99. Cheers, honey. I don't know what you was doing. That was wild. Anyway, we're going to the next call. Great call. I appreciate that. I appreciate the insight. I'm going to 786. 786, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Yeah, I'm Hashim, and I'm calling from Miami. And I just want to say, keep up the good work. And there's a lot of brothers and sisters out there. I guess you, Professor Black Truth, Tyreek, Tone, you, just a lot of other brothers and sisters getting online trying to do their thing. We don't all have to agree together, but the bottom line is that we're all in agreement on that we're trying to help our people and we're trying to move it forward. So I think it's a good thing that we all agree on all issues. Another thing is we are for our people. So I think that's important to put out there. So I just wanted to say that. I also wanted to say that with voting, not voting is also a part of civil engagement too. So we also have to say that that is also a part of being civilly engaged. You choosing to say that I'm not voting because I'm not happy with either candidate or whatever. So I think that's very important that we don't make it seem like people, like that's not a choice for people, because that is part of engaging when you make a conscious effort not to vote because none of the candidates that you see are suitable for what you want to vote for.
Well, let me just say I know it's a choice. It's not a choice that I'm recommending, and it's not a choice that I think is effective. They're all choices. We all make choices. We all make choices.
Well, and I understand that, but I'm saying if there's two candidates, then I don't want to vote for either of them. I don't feel like I should have to vote for either of them. I don't think I should either one of those candidates
that's the
are
problem.
acceptable to me.
But see, let me just say this. That's the problem, right? There's no election where let me just say this. Let me just say this, and I'm gonna let you go. Let me just say this. The problem is that you never go into I don't know how people are talking about elections. I think the way we have conversations about elections are wrong. I don't think I've ever been to an election where there are only two candidates. I've never had that in my life. Walk into a voting booth, I don't think, unless it was an off-year election or a special election, where there were only two candidates. There are usually a few candidates, and then there are a few issues, whether they a special issue, referendums, or whatever. There's usually much more on the ballot than two candidates. So what?
No, see, you misinterpreted me. You assumed automatically that I meant when I say don't vote for candidates, that I'm saying that you don't go in and vote for judges, that you don't go in and vote for city council people, that you don't go in and vote for DAs. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying at all is that you have to make a conscious effort when you vote, and sometimes when you make that conscious effort is going to be that I'm not going to vote for in this particular. I'm not voting the presidential. I'm not voting this.
That's what down ballot is. That's what down ballot is, though. Down ballot is leaving the presidential blank and voting for the other people that you can vote for. That's what down ballot is. If you're saying that, then you agree with me.
Yeah, and I agree with you. No, I'm saying you vote for what you vote for what's important to you. I'm not saying you don't vote for anything, because there's definitely things that are important to you. Let's get real. These people make decisions that affect your lives. So you're not using all the tools available to you if you're not voting. If these people are going out of their way to see that you don't vote, if these people are going all out to try to stop you from voting and IDs and all that stuff, your common sense should tell you, hey, this has some kind of value to it. Because why would these people be going all out of their way to stop me if this had no value whatsoever? So your comments says, so this has some kind of value. Let me look into this and see what is so valuable about my vote that these people want to redraw districts. They want to do all this type of stuff to stop black people from voting. So that tells you right there that this has some kind of value to it. So I think it's important that we as a people use every tool that we have available to us. It's not just voting. If it's starting businesses, if it's being supportive of one another, if it's stop killing, anything that's going to be beneficial to us as a people, then I think that we need to use every aspect of that. And I think that that's extremely important. And I'm going to say one more thing. Why are we not able to sue MSNBC or Joy Reid and ask for them to do a retraction? Because you and Tone and other people that out there, you have an ADOS website. So that talks about what ADOS means, ADOS101.com. So is it in effect that when she says this misinformation and basically outright lies about us as a community, isn't Joy Reid and MSNBC allowing her to libel you, Tone, and people in this movement by coming on and saying misinformation that is clearly and easily checked, that she's giving out misinformation and that she's telling, that it's libelous, because it's clearly that it's a lie. All you have to do is get online right now. You can tell, listen to what you're doing right now, and it can be proven that that's a lie. So can't we sue them for saying that, hey, that we want a retraction or whatever, because this individual you're clearly promoting misinformation yourself. You're clearly promoting misinformation because you can clearly check that what she's saying is not true. So therefore, if you know what she's saying is not true, why are you continuing to keep pushing it?
Well, two things.
If you're not trying to push the misinformation.
Well, two things I'll say. This is ADOS, American Descendants of Slavery, is not what can we say, a formal entity, right? We're a lineage anchored in political action for restorative and reparative justice, right? That's who we are, but we're not a specific entity or organization. First of all, And disinformation is very vague. When you talk about disinformation, you can say, well, that's not what I meant. I meant this. That's not what I meant. I meant this. So you have two kind of hurdles to pass if you want to do that and bring that to court in a very specific way. Because this is going to have to be a specific claim. And we're not a specific entity necessarily. That's not who we are. And the second part about it is they just said disinformation. That's a very vague thing to say. They didn't say that they did this very specific thing. They said, well, disinformation. So that is the conundrum if you want to do it that way.
Okay. Well, thanks for letting me get my point of view out. I appreciate it.
No problem. You have a good one. And I think, Colin, you agree with me. I think when you said go in and vote for what you want to vote for, I don't disagree. Fine, go through your ballot and say, okay, I believe in this. Oh, I don't like this person right here. I'm voting for him. He better than him. Or, if you can only go and vote for one referendum or whatever, then that's cool too. Do that. But make sure before you decide whether or not how you gonna show up or whether you show up, just at least read the ballot and do your research. Do that first. Can we all just say we're gonna do that first? I'd appreciate it. Anyway, let me see who we're going to next. We're going to 330. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, Yvette, what's happening? How you doing?
Not too much. How you doing?
Man, not too bad for an old man. But let me just talk about Miss Reid for a minute. You know what? I find the whole entire interview to be very, very insulting. Very insulting. And I got a question for you, Yvette. Just real quick. Are you a bot?
No. Blood and bones. I got blood, bleed, hair, all that.
I'm not a bot either. I just thought I'd ask. I'm a black man that grew up in Akron, Ohio. I live in Phoenix. I worked my way through college. I worked my way through undergrad school. I'm from the projects. And I don't like to be referred to as a bot because I have a mind. I don't want to believe the garbage that the United States government and these so-called politicians and these white supremacists are giving me. So just because I have an opinion and a different point of view and don't want to go with groupthink, I'm a bot now? I find the whole thing very, very insulting. And to take it a step further, I really would like to know how much money are they paying Joy Reid and that other clown? How much money are they paying them for them to lick their boots?
Not enough.
I mean, I know everybody got the price, but I mean, good gracious. I just found the whole thing very insulting, and I want to let them know because I know they're listening. I know they're listening. I am not a bot. I am a black man who has done very well for himself. I'm doing better than most.
Okay.
I'm doing better than most, but I've worked hard for what I got, and I'm very humble. But I am not a bot, and I know they listening. I know they listening because they're clowns and they a bunch of suckers. I know they listening. I am not a bot. ADOS are not bots. We are real people with real issues, and we want what is owed to us, not what is given. What is owed. You dig?
I did.
It just after I've seen the interview, it made me feel like as soon as I heard the interview, I went to my album collection and I turned on Marvin Gaye, Inner City Blues, make me want to holler the way they treat my life. That's real talk. That's real talk. I put it on and I turned it all the way up. But thank you for everything you do. I just had to get that off my chest. And I appreciate you and all the work you do.
No, appreciate you, fam. Yeah. Make all of us want to holler. You on this again? I thought we had went through this. Like, why don't you do something with yourself, child? I don't know what you do. I'm going to 301. 301, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Good evening, Sister Yvette. How you doing? This is Marshall from the DMV.
What's going on, Marshall?
ADOS DMV. How you doing, sister?
Pretty good.
Good. My ire tonight is with Joy Reid, and I'll try to be as quick as possible, but I need to frame this.
Okay.
Joy Reid truly is an opportunist, and I have to share this quick story from the summertime. I basically kept this to myself and only told a few people about it. And it's no big thing, but it connects perfectly tonight with what's going on. As much as people want to speak about the New York Times article and say that that was a hit piece, I myself didn't necessarily like the article itself. It was like 60-40. Remember, I called in and I said what I liked most about it was the pictures, and what I hated most about it was the last quarter of it when they gave time to this fool, Shireen Mitchell, Mitchell's sister.
Exactly.
Joy Reid is truly an opportunist, and here is why. In July, she came to D.C. and spoke at Politics and Prose. If you know, Politics and Prose is one of these big independent bookstores, and I went to go see her speak. Crowd was packed. They have, speakers. There's a lot of videos online. In fact, I would like people who hear me tonight to go to Politics and Prose on YouTube and check out Joy Reid's her talk in July. I believe it's the 23rd to 29th. This woman is very much steeped in our history. She is not ADOS. But when you check out that video, you will see a lot of things that really don't make sense about the way that she approaches this whole ADOS thing. She knows a lot about our history. She knows a lot about our pain. But when it comes to reparations and when it comes to this thing that she's doing with Digital Sister is totally, it's horrible. Because this woman says that she is so much steeped in data. This itself is a hit piece. And what she did was totally lacking of any type of journalistic integrity. I went up to this woman at the end of her talk, waiting in line, and just wanted her to let her know, ADOS, we're not bots. I didn't come here to mess with you. I didn't come here to yell and throw up a sign and be mean to you.
Yeah.
I just want to let you know that the information that you're putting out
isn't true.
Is very negative and it's incomplete. And of course, she grinned at me, looked at me, and said, "Well, I didn't say that you were a bot." I'm like, "But Mrs. Reid, because her husband was there, her family was there." I said, "Millions of people watch you, and I heard you say tonight that you were so steeped in data. I don't know how you got the information wrong about ADOS. I presented to her a copy of our Black Agenda. I informed her about Dr. Darity and Tone's report. And I have to give credit to her husband. After I did shake her hand, and she said, 'You know what, sir? You were real respectful. And the people that I've met from ADOS have been respectful. And I've let them know that you all should watch out for bots that come your way.'" And I'm like, Mrs. Reid, that's going to happen. We're having problems now with the president that got elected who, both campaigns, the DNC and the RNC, were infiltrating. The DNC caught more hell than the other for it, but that's going to happen. We are, politically based. We are looking for a justice claim, and our main focus is reparations. She's like, I know. And I'm like, well, Mrs. Reid, if that's the case, how can you put this out? And from there, the best way that I protested, I was a huge Melissa Harris Perry fan. I was a Nerdland person all day long. But I kind of backed away from Joy Reid, and my protest was just not watching her show. I catch it every once in a while, and of course, when sensational things like this happen, there's no way that I can't tune in or, catch up online what has happened. But this truly, the way that you break it down was strictly a hit piece. And this woman, not only does she know better, but this was basically a get back for our advocacy against Kamala Harris and her campaign. That's all this was. And I want to give a big salute, shout out to Sister Bakara. Sister,
Absolutely.
You did the thing. You put up those receipts today, and they were necessary. And I thank you, sister. You did your thing. And I think everybody who is ADOS and our allies, thank you for that information that you brought up, because that was just unnecessary. And I just wanted to say that this was horrible. This woman knows, these people know, the Jason Capeharts, the Malcolm Nances, they understand that ADOS, not only are we now bots, but now we're concerned, black people people who are American descendants of slavery who want an exchange for our vote. They understand this, and this was strictly a get back for Kamala. And I'm gonna leave it at that, sister. Good night. You know, as always, I love you.
Love you
I'm a quarter through the book, so I'm gonna go back to reading my book. Tonight. But like I said before, ladies and gentlemen, just go to Politics and Pros on YouTube, and it's about an hour-long video. I want you to check that out. You will hear this woman speak facts about things that happened to our ancestors here in this country, and there's also some information about her father and how he looked at the world, and how the world looked at him, and how the way that she presents herself, and through the lens of blackness, how it is, and I'll just leave that as a homework lesson to the ADOS family. Salute to all ADOS. Shout out to you again, Sister Bakara, for that information. And have a good night, sis.
You too, fam. I appreciate it. As always, Marshall always come with the good calls. What he's basically saying is that Joy Reid knows better, but this was payback. Like, they feel like that okay, we kind of ended Kamala. Like, we didn't even really end it. We didn't even let her get started. Like, ADOS came out the gate. Like, you want to do this you want to do this on MLK Day? You want to announce your candidates on MLK Day? Okay. You want to do it from Howard University? Okay. What's the black agenda? And so we didn't even let you get out the gate, because instead of giving us a black agenda, you just kept, no, am I going to say something? I'm going to do something specifically for black people? No. And we said, well, then no. So we didn't even let you get out the gate. But it wasn't us. It was So the thing is, we got to stop blaming ourselves. It wasn't us so much as you decide that you were not going to give us a black agenda. That was your decision. So you made a decision not to be able to succeed. That was your decision, though. And if you want to reach out to the NBC executives that's up on Antonio Moore's Twitter, you can contact the NBC executives. Has them up on Twitter, and you can tweet them and reach out and I know the other dude said, I pointed out with the difficulty ensuing, but you can still hit them. You can still reach out. You can still tweet them and say, listen, this is ridiculous. How long are we going to deal with this? How long have we got to go through this? So I'm going to my next call. Let me see. I'm going to 314. 314. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, Yvette.
Hey.
This is Afton from St. Louis.
What's going on?
How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
314 when she come with the STL shot it. Ooh, that last caller got me fired up. I'm like, ooh, I hope she picked me. I'm ready. I'm ready now.
I'm ready. You can Marshall. He be on fire all the time.
I'm ready to talk about hit pieces, Yvette. That's what I'm ready to talk about. So, I wanted to ask, have you heard of this article called The Tortured Logic of #ADOS by The Outline?
I think I heard it, but I didn't read it. I heard it was I didn't read it though.
Well, girl, that's what I'm trying to talk about tonight, because
okay.
I think it was. I'm actually glad that he wrote that. It's by this guy called Hubert J. Conto. So he ain't one of us. Just saying. But it was like it's really, really long. And it starts out, ironically, it was written on November 21st. So this was before Kamala bowed out the race. But she starts talking about how we came at Kamala Harris. And I was like, okay, this is getting good. This is getting good here. But one of the things that it said that's so problematic is that he says that we have an origin in right-wing belief with the superiority of those who were born in America. And it reminded me of something else that was also in the New York Times article, which is like trying to combine us with birtherism. Like, we're saying if you're not born here, you don't earn, the full promise of America. And I listened to the last series of calls where that caller that they said was a little girl, and she was like, how come you guys
how come you don't like him, guys? You don't like him, man? Like, oh, it's a horror movie start. come through the window, come downstairs. No.
But I really feel like these talking heads are putting out this mistruth that we're anti-immigrant. I really feel like it's coming from people like Reid, from people like Bree Newsom, from these talking heads that are saying, oh, well, they only care about native-born blacks, so F you. And I just feel like that's really, really unfair and a really, really big mischaracterization of the movement. Like, this could be the domino effect for all other injustice claims. Let us set the model, like we have done so many other times in history, for all other race groups, all other oppressed groups to come in. If we get this, we could bust down the door for a racism claim that is for all black people. We could bust down the door for a poor people claim that does deal with socioeconomic injustice. Like, why do you feel like us being an injured party in a specific lineage-based claim is an affront to your lineage? We're not saying nothing is wrong with your lineage. If you African, great. If you Cambodian, Nigerian, South African, not Cambodian, but you know what I'm saying, wherever you from, rep where you from. We're not saying there's something wrong with that. We're saying we have a legal claim based on a specific injury that was done by the U.S. government. Why, I want to ask that little girl, why are you so against ADOS? Why aren't you in support of us? If you really care about people of color, you should be like, yeah, we in there. We murk something on site. Let's do it together. That's what I want to know.
Well, I agree with you. I think, I think a lot of these people are just real loud. Like, I think some of the people who like and listen, because this is how America runs. Like, one of the things that we have to understand is that we're upsetting the whole American framework, right? Because it needs this bottom cast, and the way that it works at the bottom cast is us, and then other people get to come in and decide, and America decides through their processes whether or not the other people get to be made white, and that's kind of how this works. So when you say, like, no, we're not going to be bottom cast, so America has to either decide, like, are we going to let them not be a bottom cast? And if so, who are we going to put on the bottom? Because, capitalism requires different classes. If they're not on the bottom, who has to be put on the bottom? And then we have to be, it's one thing to be heartfelt, and that's what religion and all that stuff is for, and charity and all that stuff. But, we served our time at the bottom. Nobody else wants to say, well, who you going to throw down there? Like, because, y'all just got to stay down there because it's wrong to be throwing anybody else down there. Well, wait a minute, what? Like, what in the socialists always talk about a revolution. When y'all gonna revolt? Well, we can't do it right now. So you just
don't hear that. And I see y'all in the chat. I'm reading it. Let me let you know right now. My daddy from Houston and my mama from Mississippi. I'm ADOS all the way.
All right.
So
don't let them talk about you. Don't let them talk about you.
Let me just get that out the way. ADOS on both my parents, the whole family. ADOS is what y'all know. But I said people of color because what I'm saying is that if you want people of color, you need to create the framework for that to happen. You need to be the champion of this solidarity amongst all brown people that you say that you want. Otherwise, why expect us to do it? That's what I mean when I say, when I'm using that term out there, I'm using it as a euphemism for you need to do the work. You need to be on the front line. You need to lace up your boots and come up there and march for us like you want us to do for you. What is wrong with expecting that? That's what I want to ask to all these immigrants. That's what I want to ask Joy Reid. And that's what I want to ask Bree.
I'll be frank. I'd rather be on the back flank now. I don't really want to be on the front flank. We're on the front flanks a lot, taking bullets. I'd rather be on the back flank. Like, you go up front. I'll be back here. I'll be here when you get back.
Well, some of these people, they already got lobbies in the room. They already got people on K Street. They already got people that on the phone, on the line, with the people that can help make the moves. Where are you? The Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, the all these different immigrant groups. Why aren't you out in front of the jail?
I don't see them in front of jails protesting mass incarceration. Do you?
That's what I'm saying. Why aren't all these other immigrant groups that are saying we're xenophobic? Where is your support for us? Where is your support for our cause? If you want it to be a people of color situation, you at least got to come to the table.
Well, yeah, what you're really saying is though it can't. What you're really saying though is it can't be about people of color. It has to be about not only a shared ideology, but a shared way in which we're going to help each other. Like, I'm going to do this for you, you're going to do this for me. That's what it's all about. What normally happens for the Democratic Party and for everybody under that Democratic tent, we're the mules. So everybody just go and put a bunch of sacks on our back and say, come on, and kick us in the ass and say, ride, go, keep going. And like, no, this is not, no, we're not your mule. And so we want an exchange. Okay, we have to, honestly, I would want everybody, let's have a contract. If you want us to be this whole group, and I don't even like people of color, it's ADOS in a contract with it's ADOS in a contract with these people, in a contract with the Latinx people or whatever. We can have these, we can negotiate the terms, but there is no natural kind of, there is no, melanin doesn't create like this natural likeness, right?
Yeah, well, what I'm saying is people are pushing that term on us, telling us that we need to have a people of color mindset, okay. Right?
No, I got what you were saying.
But then we say, okay, let's hear you out. Like, you gonna use your channel? Like, you gonna call up your congressman for us? Like, you gonna talk about us at your next meeting? They're like, well, I don't know about that. Okay, well then how can you call me a xenophobe?
Yeah, I'm just not gonna, there's no return for my investment in you. But I appreciate you calling. I appreciate you. I'm gonna try to let some other people get in, but I thank you for calling. But if you're not gonna invest in what's important, sorry, caller. If you're not going to invest in what is important for me, I don't want to invest in. Why would I invest in what's important for you? Right? If you're not gonna put in work in terms of what is my agenda, why would I put in work in terms of what your agenda is? It doesn't make much sense. Going to the next call, I'm going to 510. 510, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, Yvette, it's Robert. How you doing?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Thank you for taking my call.
No problem.
Number two, thank you for all that you're doing for us. I really, really, really appreciate it. So, just a big thank you for all that you do. I'm trying to be real brief. I saw the Joy Reid clip on this brother who's this is conservative, and he was even going in on Joy Reid, and it was just it was really just disgusting just to see. It was just flat out disgusting to see how she was attacking ADOS and all the other groups. It was just really disgusting. But I think for me, Yvette, it's a little bit deeper than Joy Reid. I mean, Joy Reid is a talking head. Yes, she is. And are there black people that listen to Joy Reid? Of course. But, for me, Joy Reid is just a puppet. So for me, the question is, and I guess the question for you is one thing, because, I truly admire your political astuteness, if even that's a word. But Joy Reid is controlled by somebody. And Joy Reid is talking for somebody. And this is the people that we need to really focus in on. Yes, there's the Joy Reid out in front, but Joy Reid is speaking for somebody, and somebody that is scared. And that's my point. These people are afraid. They're afraid of black people, getting together and moving in this direction. Asking for tangibles, asking for an exchange, as you always say. And so, my thing is, who's controlling Joy Reid? Because that's really the person that we need to focus our attention on to some extent. Because Joy Reid is just a talking head. At the end of the day, you and I know we both know that Joy Reid can be replaced at any given time.
Absolutely.
Just like all the other you call them what you call them, the Obama whispers?
The Negro whispers. And I heard that somewhere else first. I can't remember. I think it was in a book. But yeah, the Negro whispers. They're the modern day Negro whispers.
Yeah, the Negro whispers. So they can be replaced at any given time. So it's whenever there's a groundswell like you have here with ADOS, and whenever you think about these other groups, FBA, etc., but there's still a groundswell of these groups, and everybody's and now everybody's become a little bit more politically aware, a little bit more politically astute, and not only that, people putting feet to their face. They're putting feet to this. and asking for receipts and bringing up receipts and calling people on the carpet. And so people are running, we got some people running scared. And so these are the people that we really need to focus on. And once you get behind your Joy Reid, like the Wizard of Oz, who's behind the curtain? Joy Reid, we pulled back Joy Reid, because he was behind the curtain. So we need to see behind Joy Reid and, all the other Roland Martins and everybody else like that. I mean, these people are just figureheads who just, in my opinion, just careerists. They're trying to advance, and they love to hear themselves talk, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And of course, they're getting paid. I'm sure pretty handsomely. But that's just my point, Yvette. Who's behind is it the DNC? Who's behind these people who we have running scared? And that's it. Again, thank you for all that you do.
Thank you,
appreciate you. Appreciate all the ABUS family. So God bless you. Have a great night. Okay?
Thanks, fam. I appreciate it. But yeah, so who's pulling it? Like, who's telling you that this is what you need to do? I'm going to my next call, but the caller makes a good point. Like, who's telling you that, this is what you need to do? That you got to go back in on this. You didn't do it right the first time. Like, what's happening here? Is something else happening here we don't know about? I'm going to 214. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. What's going on, 214?
Hey, Yvette, I'm so glad to be on the line with you. Sharon calling from North Carolina. I haven't followed the whole piece closely. I did see Tone's show, but the fact is that we are gaining traction. Mm-hmm. I teach, and I had a white pastor here in North Carolina talk about reparations, and he pastors a large, I would say middle class to upper class white congregation. And he is talking about how to move his congregation toward this argument for reparations. Oh, wow. So we're starting this co-needed push, and the powers that be are afraid. So I understand the whole 4Ds that Byron laid out for us. But the whole piece is we have to hold our ground. As you said, we have to stay on our square, and we have to be encouraged. I mean, we really do have a justice claim, and people of goodwill all across the board are starting to see it, because they see that this nation is unraveling unless they decide to do some things different. So I just want to say thank you for what you're doing. I'm invigorated. I said months ago that we were going to knock the gate down, and that appears to be the case. I mean, step by step, we're starting to see signs that things are moving in our favor, even as the resistance is getting hotter. But that's just how the system works. So thank you for all that you do.
No, thank you. I appreciate it, fam. Thank you. And it's funny. Like, through my work with Dr. Cosby in the church, we have black pastors and white pastors who are saying, like, okay, how do we move on this? Like, the church hasn't been right on this. How do we move in the right direction? The scholarships, the ADOS scholarships we're talking about. Like, it's a lot of stuff going on. It's a lot of moving parts. And just because you don't see it all happen at once, life don't happen all at one time. So, I don't think anybody who you talked to in 2015 would have told you that, oh yeah, in 2019, like, the Democratic Party is going to be talking about reparations, and they're not going to be talking about it seriously enough. So ADOS are going to be fighting with them. It's going to be like, this is where we're going to be. Like, nobody could have predicted that. So you don't know how to, anybody who tells me they can predict next year or 2 years from now, I would call a liar. You don't know. You don't have a crystal ball. You have to advocate in a specific direction. So I'm going now to 310. What's going on?
What up, Yvette? I sent you that image. If you could pull that up when I start talking about Shireen Mitchell, digital assistant. So, digital assistant, she has this unsecured site and is trying to talk about herself as a security expert. I think for a lot of people, the gravity of that, we got to understand how crazy that is to have an unsecured personal business website and be talking about digital cybersecurity on TV, on cable TV. I mean, basically, to give y'all some context, somebody could go into her site, take all of the images and everything, and make a dummy copy of her site. And I don't even know if she knows. because it's free almost. Like it comes with the hosting a lot of times to make it actually secure and locked. How you don't know that? And then in addition, you have at the same time her framing something that is not disinformation as disinformation. That being that Kamala is a cop. I don't even know if she knew the difference between profession. I'm a criminal defense attorney. Do this quite regularly, where the DA works hand in hand with the police officer. When they go to trial, they call the officers to the stand. When the ticket comes in, if you get a ticket, what happens is, I'm talking about a misdemeanor or a felony, that goes to the DA and then they file it. I don't know if Shireen Mitchell knew that. And I think that once you have that lack of expertise, that matched with the fact that you don't speak all that well, I don't know why you're on television. And I literally mean she didn't speak all that well. Like she fumbled and bumbled because you don't know what you're talking about. That brings me to a call to action. We got 2,600 people watching this show live. So often we talk about politics, and I know we do politics, but let's give ourselves a specific task to make our voices known. And I ask you to be respectful as you do this, but these three people are executives at the top of MSNBC. At Nick Asheen, at Jonathan Walls, at Yvette Miley. You can go click and it actually shows. You can look them up. They are actual MSNBC executives that are over Joy Reid's show. You should let it be known that either you're demanding a retraction or they come up with actual specific proof tying ADOS to what they're claiming. And you need to also be very informed as you speak. Make it clear that the website that they have used as a source doesn't have that proof. I think you should, again, tweet all three of them and Joy Reid herself and make them come up with proof. The last thing I wanted to speak to is this idea of solidarity. When we came to the Supreme Court steps, it wasn't for reparations. It wasn't for a black agenda. It was for the original Civil Rights Act that everyone sits on. But nobody else was there. No women's rights groups, no DACA. DACA actually was there the day before it left. That's how bad it was. No general Latino groups. No NAACP. There was us and then some people that came from STARS. The reason why I bring that up is even up until that moment, there was little or no voice coming out of the Latino or Hispanic caucus nor the Asian caucus about this. I don't know where this people of color thing comes from, but I don't even think that these people have the same agenda as us. I don't even understand the tri-caucus conferences they have, because at the end of the day, when it comes to actual civil rights, it becomes a black issue. When it comes to criminal justice, it becomes a black issue. But then they have very succinct, specific things that impact us negatively. Not just don't impact us, not just that we don't need, but that impact us negatively, that there only will help them. Or very, very much so, almost like in the majority share, will help them. Because, people will say, well, there are black DACA recipients. No, it's largely not. It's largely not. Let's just be honest. This is not. People will say the fringes of what, it's not for us. And when you say us, I'm talking about black people. But when you get down to ADOS, most of us don't even have family outside of this country. Pretty much almost all of us, actually. And I just, my thing is a call to action. Please be vigilant, but be respectful. And I believe you should reach out to these executives and demand apology. That's all I want to say. Or retraction.
Appreciate it, Tone, as always. Yeah. I mean, every time we ask for it, every time, it's just like, come on, man. What are y'all doing? What's happening? Let me go to, I'm going to 919. 919, what's your name? Where you calling from? And what is on your mind?
Yes, thank you, Yvette. I'm Vanessa from North Carolina. How you doing tonight?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. I just want to make a brief point. I think the defeat of Kamala Harris really triggered some of, I call what you reference, the Negro whispers, like the Roland Martins and the Joe Reid of the world. When Kamala Harris indicated that she was in her campaign, the anger that was on that was shown a display by many on Roland Martin's show was just unbelievable. It was almost like black people should support Kamala Harris because she was brown. She had an agenda. I think now, because you have this pushback by ADOS, who I think is in front, they have to paint a picture that these are just strange, far left black people who just going too far, and we can't listen to these people. They want to make us different. That's the issue. So they make us different. They don't want to listen to us. I think that's what Joe Reid is trying to do. I think that's what Roland Martin is trying to do. Because Roland Martin will tell you every 5 minutes that he's been an editor from 10 different magazines. I'm so tired of hearing that. I did Roland Martin.
His biography.
Okay, great. Like, exactly. I mean, it gets old, but I think that's the purpose of it. It's to make this group is a widow. They're just different. They're like the
they're
black
an aberration
of this generation. Exactly. And that's all we're asking for is the black agenda. You know how that's a
break it up a little bit for me.
I just he did a great job.
Thank you, fam. I appreciate you breaking up a little bit at the end. But yeah, I think they want to paint us as an aberration and say, no white people, no Latinos, these black people don't really want all of that. These is just some rabble rousers. They over there making noise and they got bull horns they squeezing. Don't believe none of it. They chill. And I think I think the caller's right. Yeah, they want to make us into aberration. And the person who said we're accessing, I remember I meant to hit this. The person who said like there was an article and black people in America are accessing the supremacy of whatever. That person's an idiot. Like there's no black person in America who has ever access this supremacy. We're a bottom caste of America. How can we access the supremacy of whiteness in America? Just dumb stop. And whoever allowed that to be published must just be crazy. I mean, I didn't read it because, I was just sure it was going to be stupid. And I'm tired of reading stupid stuff. That stuff gets in your head. Before you know it, you got stupid thoughts just locked up in there. I'm going to the last call of the night, 617. 617, what's going on?
Hey, Yvette, it's Reggie from Boston. How you doing?
What's going on, Reggie?
Hey, thank you for taking my call.
No problem.
I didn't really want to speak, but it's like I'm just so tired, Yvette, and I can just imagine how tired you and Tone are. I mean, this stuff is just so ridiculous and circular. But shout out to Marshall for his story of his Joy Reid encounter. I think it really gives us some perspective on just how intentional and in some cases lost these people are. Shout out to Tone Talks for the call of action, because I really feel like that's needed. Like you said, about 2,000 people listening in. Even if just half of those people tweeted or called these executives, we could get some traction. Because the reality is, like Tone said, these people really have no proof. And in terms of the Democratic establishment and the leftists, they have no proof. And even the Senate has no proof. Because I really looked through like some of these reports that the Senate put out, the Senate intelligence report, in terms of the Russian infiltration and the disinformation campaigns. Nowhere in the reports that came out earlier this year or the ones that came out this week, none of them, and I mean none of them, mention Adolf specifically. And even further, none of these reports, neither of these reports, specifically even talk about Russians targeting groups that were for reparations advocacy. So when Shireen Mitchell comes out, jumping out the window, she doesn't undermine just ADOS specifically, but she undermines reparations and the reparations movement altogether. So, because even if people we have disagreements with, you know, like Nkoba or Narc, come out and say something, what Mitchell signal to white America is like, I ain't even got to listen to Nkoba. If Nkoba comes up to me talking reparations, this is a misinformation campaign. Like, this is like kind of on par with what Tariq was doing. Like, you're undermining black politics altogether, and it's just the height of irresponsibility. And even when you look at the Senate, you know, reports and how it played out, you know, even though black voters were targeted by the Russians disproportionately, they don't show any evidence that they really swayed anything. It was the white folks that really fell for it. And even if it were true, let's just say for the sake of argument that the Russians were able to sway anything, what none of these people are talking about and none of what the Senate was talking about can account for the groundswell of anger around the black electorate and black politics that was brewing since the time when Obama was running for office in 2007. Yeah. You know, shout out to Cornel West, Tavis Smiley, and other people, because they were asking for, you know, the specificity then of a black agenda, and they were getting shut down by the establishment. I didn't hear anybody talking about, oh, well, Russia this or Russia that came after Cornell or Tavis. These people are being disingenuous and just outright lying. And I'm gonna go as far to say if ADOS was specifically implicated or there was evidence, I guarantee you the Democrats would have put that on the front page of every left-leaning media in the country. And just to come back, you know, when we talk about like the down ballot, it's not voter suppression, it's voter expression. And I think the Democrats locally really need to take note because, you know, we're leaving the presidency blank, but what the framework that you and Tone are laying out is that it creates an environment where we are hyper-focused locally. And I don't know if the Democrats, you know, at the state and municipal levels understand what that means. I'll just give an example. Like here in Boston, there was a recount where the recount just, you know, wrapped up this evening. And the city councilor who won, she won by one vote. And, you know, Reggie came out, you know, for that vote. But Reggie came out for an agenda. Absolutely. And that candidate understood that agenda. So I don't know if the Democrats want to play this game nationally or locally in some of these, you know, municipalities. And, you know, just back to Shireen Mitchell, I really feel like, you know, she's a neo-colonial puppet, you know, in the United States. So I don't know how the Democrat Party calls the black women the backbone of the Democratic Party, and then you prop up somebody like Shireen Mitchell that turns around and gaslights that backbone of the party. It's like I don't know what sort of like delusional, bougie type of puppets that they're talking to over there, but it's not representative of working class young black female voters, and I really think that, you know, the leftist, but MSNBC and like that leftist part of the media are really in danger of costing Democrats this entire election. Because I don't even see CNN talking crazy like this. And it's like, even if you look at the Essence poll, I really don't think that, you know, a lot of them understand, you know, what was going on. Because when you look at young black women voters from 18 to 35, like their number one issue was criminal justice and police reform. And if you understand the numbers in terms of how that affects black men, it shows that we're a unified group, that the women are caring about the men. It's showing that you can't play this intersectional bait and switch and split us up. And then they talk about affordable housing, gentrification, the rise in hate crimes and racism. Like so much of that is tied, into their wealth position, and they're just ignoring them. So I really don't think that the Democrats want to play a political game of chicken with a population that's already gone over a financial cliff. I really don't think they want to do that. Like, especially when we look at the ADOS movement specifically, and we see that Black women are some of the most vocal and effective organizers within that movement. Like, gaslighting them specifically, it's going to be disastrous when those same women start to organize. And I don't even know the numbers, but I guarantee you, if we talk to somebody like Mark in Ohio, I don't even know the numbers, but I can guarantee you that there's more women that are working in terms of on the ground than men. And, shout out to Bakara with the information, as far as breaking that down. Like, that's just one Black woman. So the question that the Democrats need to answer is that, do you want to continue going into 2020 gaslighting a nation of angry Black women and the men that love them? That's all I got, Yvette.
Appreciate it, Reggie. As always, that's a good note to end on. Y'all wanna keep going down this road? Let us know. Let us know. You gonna give it back to Trump next? Let us know. Let us know what you want to do. Cause we prepared to do whatever. Let us know. So, fam, we're gonna end it there. But please do not forget, They Were Her Property. The book club, January the 30th. We will be reading. That's the last Thursday in January. That is the book club day. They were her property. That's what when white women as slave owners in the American South. That is the next book club book. As always, please hit that like button before you leave. Please do that. If you can't do nothing else, if you want to donate, you can go to donatebrown.com, patreon.com/WaCarnell. You can go into the description for the what do you call it? The link. You can go to the description for the link to if you want to subscribe to the newsletter or shirt or whatever. Please do that. Go subscribe to brown.com, totally free. Subscribe to brownto.com. Add your name. I just keep it just in case I might need it. You never know what might happen. But please hit like. If you haven't hit that bell already, please hit the bell so that you get notifications. And subscribe. If you have not subscribed to the channel already, please subscribe. Like I said, before you leave, if you haven't hit the like button, hit the like on your way out. Hit that like button. And we will talk again next time, family. I'm sure there'll be some other madness come up on us, fam. But until next time, finish your libations and go to bed.